Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome to our patch 5.1 preliminary patch note overview. Now, I am looking at these patch notes for the first time. I didn't, go over them at all before I actually started this recording. I'm live on Twitch. I had Twitch chat closed. I've seen one or two bits of information, and that is it. So, it's going to be a long one. Strap in. And I hope that these are pretty good, because there's some things that I really need to see. Some of them job changes, some of them desynthesis related, because I didn't talk about it in the previous thing, in the previous live letter. So let's just get into it, because it's going to be a long video. So for those of you who are newer to Final Fantasy XIV, preliminary patch notes come out the Friday before the patch, most of the time, all but a single time that's happened. And full patch notes will be released when the servers go down, usually on Monday. It's only a 6-hour downtime, so I don't know if they'll release it even earlier than that. But those usually just have a bit more item information, a few other things that they considered pertinent to keep a secret for, I guess, preparation purposes for the patch, to make sure people didn't go out and destroy some markets beforehand. So the top is always basic, new main scenario quests. We've seen most of these screenshots. It gives you a starting point. We will be starting in the Rising Stones in Mordona, speaking to Tataru, and the rest of this is all a secret. The only thing we have is the first quest name, Shaken Resolve. And yes, you will need to have the 5.0 story done in order to actually access these quests. The quest Word About Korma can now be found under the Chronicles of the New Era tab in the journal window. Okay. Chronicles of New Era quests have been added. This is normally the category where they put the 24-man raids as well as some other quests. And as you can see, they are showing off the Yorha Dark Apocalypse series right here. That is going to start at the Gossipy Dwarf in Colusia. So I believe that's also where the, Word About Kamra quest begins. So we are going to need to have that done. If you haven't done that quest, it's been in the game since Shadowbringers release, and it has been teasing that it would be tied to Yorha Dark Apocalypse. So you do need to have that side quest done in particular in order to access the new 24-man raid, so get to it. On top of that, these are all just, quests following up the story from Yorha Dark Apocalypse, both before and after the actual entry into the 24-man. New side story quests, but they're not giving us any information about this, so this will be something we learn a little bit more about after we get into the main scenario a little bit. Custom deliveries, we know that one of our buddies from the main scenario is going to be looking to fix up Yulemore and get some more people in there. We talked about it in the patch 5.1 site preview. And you are going to need to have the Boutique Always Wins done as a quest, as well as a question mark main scenario quest. On top of that, you have a follow-up quest with Kaishir for when you reach a certain satisfaction level with him. So after so many weeks of doing custom deliveries. The new Beast Tribe dailies, the Pixie quests, it does have quest sync. This has been a thing for the for the past several expansions for Beast Tribe quests, where you could do it at any level between basically 70 and 80, and it will scale to your level, so that way you can also use it as an additional leveling tool. And this will be the beginning of a lot of leveling tools being added across the remainder of the expansion. Beast Tribe quests, these are just the names, the locations, need to complete the wheel turns, and then go talk to the Pink Pixie in the Crystarium. And then it's got a few follow-up quest locations, and just follow that through, and every time you get to a certain rank, I assume that there will be new quests available as well. Daily quests, currencies, and vendors are all pretty standard stuff for the other Beast Tribe quests. Specifically, if you want to access the dream that we saw during the live letter, it looks like the entry point will be just southwest of the teleport to Likia, so in Ilmeg. Then we have New Game Plus, which... Okay, that's Xehanort. That's... Okay. That's the last person I trust with New Game Plus, but I guess if there was anything to make me play a game again, it'd probably be Kingdom Hearts, right? So after you finish Heavensward, the Wistful Whitebeard in Western Thanalan gives you access to New Game Plus, and obviously as you finish more chapters or more expansions, then and whenever they patch in new stuff, then new availabilities will be made with New Game Plus. They even put a little thing in here to remind you that more features will be made available to New Game Plus in the future. After that, it'll be under, you select duty, then New Game Plus, and then the replayable chapters will pop up. You can even suspend your progress if you want to stop working on New Game Plus and go back to doing all normal stuff. You can do that, so you don't have to feel like you have to commit to a New Game Plus all at a single time while stopping your progress in other aspects. However, while you are under New Game Plus, you cannot register for new duties you have yet to complete in what would be considered your New Game Plus progression. You cannot interact with the market board or retainer bells, as well as certain NPCs and objects. That certain NPCs and objects is probably ones specifically that are relocated because of story progression. Maybe it means other things as well, but I'd assume those are the big things that it's talking about there. And you cannot access the unending journey. You're playing through it. Why would you need to access the unending journey anyway? So just a few little things in there. Difficulty of certain instance battles in the main scenario have been reduced. I'm willing to bet that's the end of Stormblood, the very last one that you do for that. There's probably some other ones in there as well, but that's the number one I'd expect them to actually go through and adjust. Maybe even some of the Shadowbringers ones that take like 7 or 8 minutes to complete just because they take a long time. They're not hard, they just take a pretty long time. Players can now choose the difficulty of quest instance battles. We saw this during the live letter. Normal is the intended difficulty, what we're all probably used to, and isn't very hard. But if for some reason you find that it is still too hard and you just want to breeze through, there is a easy and very easy now, which will give you scaling levels of the echo. They even say here, 50% echo on easy and 100% echo on very easy. Oof, that's a big buff. You're fine. You don't need the echo. Just you'll be fine. Yagetsu action has been added to the actions available in playing as Hien. Okay, so there's more attacks as Hien. Okay, that's all I see there. Parameters of enemies that appear in Arcanist and Summoner quests have been adjusted. Okay. Number of items required for crafting and fishing leaves have been adjusted. I remember them mentioning that in regards to certain recipes and things that I feel like they mentioned that during the live letter, but it may not have been pertaining to this. Increasing the maximum number of bicolor gemstones. They told us this was going to be happening, going from 500 to 1,000. And there's also new items available for exchange, which I was hoping they would do, because they really should make sure that fates continue to be something that we at least want to occasionally revisit for new crafting materials throughout the expansion. So I very much agree with that. The shared fate rank required for certain items has been reduced. I'm assuming the old items are being pushed down and the new items are being pushed up to the higher ranks to encourage people who haven't yet done it to get to the higher ranks. I agree with this for the most part. Treasure hunts, they've adjusted rewards. Now, Fireglass Leather and Enchanted Elm Lumber they've actually held their price pretty well. I've made a lot of gil off those. I've been surprised at how well they've held their costs in terms of selling them directly on the market board. I wonder if this is buffing those drop rates to make room for new items, or if it's just buffing drop rates altogether. It just has adjustments, so we'll have to wait till after 5.1 comes out to know. Grand and free companies, new craftable items have been added to the company workshop. That's a nice looking house. Following additions and adjustments have been made to subaquatic voyages. There's new areas, new items, and the maximum rank has gone up to 65. I don't mess with that stuff at all. I just wait for my FC to send them out. They come back. I don't even know what they've brought back 100% of the time, so I don't really have much to add there. Number of items required for level 79 to 80 provisioning and supply missions have been increased. Okay, don't know anything about that either. Number of items required for certain Fisher provisioning supply missions have been reduced. Okay. I mean, I do know about this. I guess I'm kind of surprised to see them increased. It took me reading this one to realize what this one was talking about. Okay, I don't know why they do that, but okay, that's just for that last level. It's a little bit, it's a little bit more. Housing wards 19 and 21. We've been over this in previous videos when the news actually came out. These will only be available for free companies for the first however much amount of time. And then after a bit of time, they'll open it up to individuals as well. I get a lot of questions about this. I made a video about it, but just know, while free companies can be the only ones to purchase a house outright in wards 19 through 21 upon release, a personal house still can be relocated into those wards because you already own the housing permit, which means that if you're an individual player looking to get a new house in this patch, you need to look for the houses in the old districts, or in the old wards that have been let go by people who relocated to the new wards. So that's your only real bet in trying to pick up a new house if you're an individual while waiting for the individual housing to be made available. Yeah, and then, if one opens up 118, or if there is one on your server 118, you're still free to buy those outright if they happen to be available regardless. Okay. Moving on, purchase of private estates has been made available on the 2 new worlds on the European data centers. Okay. Furnishings from the design contest have been incorporated. Cool. I'm not much of a design guy, so don't really have any valuable input for all these. So those are pretty cool. The like vendor stands that you can set up outside. They showed those during the live letter. You can sit and interact with furnishings now. So if you're role playing and you want to like eat something as they're showing there, you can do it while sitting down and not stand up like an animal. This change does not apply to outdoor furnishings, wheel stands, flower pots, gold saucer minigames, vendor NPCs, and mannequins. It's just for this, I suppose. Here and elves and mannequins are now available. I had even forgotten we had gotten those, and cool. All right, for those of you who still do all that stuff. New orchestrion rolls, that's a given. New aquarium fishes, that's always cool. New paintings, not much of a surprise. New seed for the flower pot has been added. Cool. All housing, all stuff for anyone who actually, cares about their interior design or exterior design or whatnot. The new seeds can be bought at all the usual places, which they always list every single patch note. New estate tags have been added, visitors welcome, and bakery. Again, these are mostly for role-playing aspects, which I think is fine. They also have estate icon tags being changed. The garden, the aquarium, and the venue all have seen adjustments so that they more accurately represent what they actually are, or at least are a little bit more fun to look at, I suppose. The new gold saucer gates the slices, right, where you just dodge a bunch of AoEs and then play a cup game or two. So basically, you just have to avoid getting smacked down, and you're good to go. There is this cup game where they put the correct... If you've ever played Super Mario RPG, or I guess like really any game with a 3-game cup game, one of them has double the treasure under it, one of them has nothing, and one of them has Daigoro. If you get Daigoro, you get knocked off and ejected. If you get nothing, cool, you stay in for the final round. And if you get the double, then your riches will be doubled, regardless of when you get knocked out from that point on. This is looking to be a lot of fun. I'm really, really happy with what they've done with gates. They've made them much more interactive and fun minigames than when they initially came out. And I only hope that they can continue to add stuff. New maps for Leap of Faith, new gates altogether. And I hope with this they phased out the one remaining gate that I hate, skin change, because I hate skin change. So I guess we'll find out right here. Following adjustments have been made to gates. The schedule's been changed. So every hour will either be Cliffhanger, Air Force 1, or Leap of Faith. Every 20 minutes past the hour, it'll be Any Way the Wind Blows and Slices Right or Leap of Faith. And any 40 minutes after the hour is passed, Any Way the Wind Blows, Slices Right, Air Force 1. Yeah, I was just going to say skin change is not here. So thank goodness. I needed that gone. I can't stand skin change. We can believe in. So glad to have that gone. All the good gates are here. Even Cliffhanger is still hanging around. I wonder if that's the next one to go for a more elaborate Leap of Faith. I wouldn't mind if Cliffhanger stayed. It's just Leap of Faith, but like really, really easy or really subtle, I suppose. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it go for a more elaborate Leap of Faith or another map for Leap of Faith. I just wouldn't be surprised. Mahjongg, I know nothing about Mahjongg, so there's a high resolution layout. I remember them telling us about that. In the event you're disconnected in the middle of the game during your turn, the game will resume on your turn, provided time for that hand has not expired. Okay, an opponent list has been added. Players with whom you have been matched. If both you and the opponent are playing on PS4, you can also view their PSN ID. Oh, that's pretty interesting. Following adjustments have been made to Triple Triad. New cards, new NPC opponents. They do it every time, but still can't use more than 1 4 or 5 star. I'm still waiting on that change for Triple Triad, making those 4 stars just useless for the most part. Scenario mode has been added to the trust system. Okay. I wonder, using scenario mode, you may challenge new main scenario dungeons with avatar NPCs that appear in the latest quests of the main scenario. Avatar NPCs will not gain any XP in scenario mode. Okay. Also, I'm noticing an average item level minimum there, which I said 2 things I saw before the video started. One of them was minimum item levels for dungeons. So I am aware that that's going to pop up somewhere in here. Okay, this is interesting. I mean, this will allow me to actually go back and use the Exarch and Lena for a little bit of fun. I don't know that I'll actually do that, but considering my avatars are all at 80 anyway, I guess it couldn't hurt to go back and do that occasionally. Whenever I do actually go back and do trust dungeons on the rare occasion. Following additions and adjustments have been made to the performance actions. Yeah, we know that there's a metronome. They've made it so that there's like a group play mode or a synchronized party mode. We know there's a new instrument. That's the word I'm looking for. Oh, that's pretty neat. BPM measure. Wow, they're really going all out with this performance feature. Every patch, it just gets like more and more like over my head because I don't have any sort of musical inclinations. I recognize a lot of this stuff, but I could never make use of it. So. Wow, they were really good to go here. An ensemble ready check. Oh my goodness, that's pretty cool, dude. I really appreciate how much work has actually gone into this performance thing, even if it's something I'll never interact with. It's crazy to think it exists in the game. You know what I mean? It's just I welcome it. That's all it really is. Then it's just how to access it. Toggle between keyboard and gamepad display buttons. All notes will be displayed when using a gamepad. Players can now display gamepad inputs on screen. Players can now practice using the performance assist feature. Yeah, it's basic at that point. It's almost like a rhythm game. Like we almost have a rhythm game equivalent in Final Fantasy XIV with the performance assist function. It's getting there. It's getting there slowly but surely. Yeah, you can see this. Look, a world apart BPM measure. Set it to a speed, and it's literally the makings of a full-on rhythm game, slowly but surely being added into Final Fantasy XIV. It's no theatrhythm, but it's one a little bit more educational probably than theatrhythm, I suppose. New settings to the performance, performance assistance, mute other players. Settings, help display gamepad inputs and display metronome. Oh, that's a trumpet, a trombone, a tuba, a horn, and a saxophone. Everyone's going to be trying to play Epic Sax, man, aren't they? Limsalo Minsa is going to just be Epic Sax, man, all over the place on patch day, isn't it? This might be the first time I turn on the performance audio feature and actually step into Limsalo Minsa for the first time. Goodness, I don't even know how long. Okay. Wondrous Tales prizes available in exchange for the certificates has been adjusted. They do that pretty often. And Eden's Gate has been added to Wondrous Tales. Okay, Eden's Gate normal, just to be clear. Garo collaboration has ended. Keep in mind, as of reading this, you still have until the servers go down on Monday to finish that up. Players will no longer be able to obtain the Garo-inspired PvP gear, mounts, titles, and achievements. This includes items available at the Disreputable Priest, the Gold Saucer Attendant, and rewards associated with Fatal Feast, Frontline Fury, and Furious Fatalities. Those are the mount achievements. Any gear you previously earned can still be obtained at the Calamity Salvager. I knew we pretty much figured that, and glad to see it. Okay. I have to be mentally prepared for this, because this was the one thing I was really trying to avoid seeing before I started to record this. Okay. We knew this was happening with Paladin, not a surprise. Sentinel had its duration increased from 15 seconds. All the Sentinel Vengeance equivalents had that raised. And somebody put me in my place. I didn't even remember Vengeance was 15 seconds in the previous expansion. I was like, that's never been 15 seconds. I was like, yes, it has, you idiot. And I'm like, oh, I'm an idiot. So, return to form a little bit. Warrior, Vengeance, 15 seconds. Home King, 8 seconds. That's massive. And Raw Intuition, 6 seconds. That's a welcome addition as well. So, yay, defensive buffs for everyone. Whee, Shadow Wall, Nebula, all 15 seconds. We're all good. And Warrior got a little bit extra off the top. Monk, okay, 3 changes. That's not a whole lot. Rockbreaker, area effect has been changed from a cone to all. Oh my goodness. There's a god. Okay, I love you. Okay, Mantra. They said they were nerfing this from 20% to 10%. Okay, I mean, I agree 20% was pretty crazy for how high DPS Monk was, but, whatever. 10% healing is still good, and Monk is still good. Anotman. Uh-oh. Now triggers the cooldown of weapon skills upon execution and cannot be executed during weapons. So it's on the global cooldown, essentially, is what I'm reading in so many words. Man, what does that... So I haven't played Monk much this expansion, but my brain immediately goes to 2 places with that. One of the reasons I haven't really wanted to play Monk is because I don't like the Anotman weave between the global cooldown in order to fish for that stack. It's just not something I enjoy on top of certain other changes to the job that have been made. It doesn't resonate with me much anymore. This, I don't know, helps that at all. I'm wondering if there's 2 things that come to mind. One, can I just use, is it better to use an on the GCD than anything else still? In which case it doesn't change, I guess it changes the opener, but it doesn't change that you're using it in the opener to get that extra stack. I'm going to let the people who actually math this stuff out figure that out. The other thing is, if it's on the GCD, couldn't you before a pull, like use it, like wait you'd probably still need that third-party add-on to do that. Like you could use it on the pull and then as the pull is going, get the tick, right? You could do that, I'm pretty sure. So one of those 2 things is probably going to become the norm if it's not eliminated for just being on the GCD now and just is used for the intended purpose. I have a feeling someone's going to find a way to make a situation work where it is a potency gain to still use an Anotman in the opener, but I don't know how that's going to feel yet. So I don't really have an emotion towards that. It might push me a little bit more towards, hitting up Monk again if it works out to not be super clunky in a different way than Anotman was before. All right, Dragoon, they said we're getting some usability and firepower buffs. So Blood of the Dragon recast has been changed from 30 to 25. Didn't need that. What? Who needed that? And then just potency. Like, here's 30, 50, and 50 potency. Jesus. All right. When I get to the Dancer section, I'm going to be pretty mad, I have a feeling. I have a feeling they're going to be like, Dancer, fix the bug where you looked weird. And it's going to be like, but here's hundreds of potency to Dragoon. Please, I'm so scared now to scroll down to the range physical section. Oh no. Ninja section I should be afraid of too. They went over some of this stuff, but there's obviously potencies and whatnot that we need to look at here. So recast time for Mug has been changed to 2 minutes, I guess just so it fits evenly with all of your all the burst windows instead of having that like 10-second period where you're like, yeah, I don't really know when I want to use it. Trick Attack, 10 more potency. Its effect is being reduced by 5%, and it is getting 5 more seconds. As someone who plays with ninjas, I'm really looking forward to optimizing on that extra 5 seconds and what I can fit in a Trick Attack window. So I'm looking forward to more how that interacts with other jobs. But I'm sure ninjas are going nuts trying to figure out exactly what it is they want to do with that extra 5 seconds as well. Because with all these changes, there's a lot. We saw Yoshi P got to do like a makeshift opener that looked pretty cool, but I don't know what it's actually going to look like, and I'm looking forward to seeing the ninjas figure it out. Aeolian Edge got buffed from 400 to 420. Rear combo potency 460, 480, so just 20 potency buff there. Shadow Fang potency increase from 100 to 200. Yeah, we saw this during the live letter as well. It's no longer part of a combo. It's just its own button. After going so far to eliminate a lot of these, we're coming back around. You know, Sonic breaks its own button. Now Shadow Fang. Yo, in before we get Fracture, Scourge, it all comes back. They're like, all right, we got rid of all those other stupid buttons. Here's your dots back. It's on the way. I can feel it. Combo bonus damage over time has been changed to an additional effect. Damage over time potency increased from 70 to 90. Effect duration changed from 24 to 30 seconds. No longer shares a recast with other actions. Recast time has been increased from 2.5 to 70 seconds. Only once every 70 seconds they'll be pressing that. Goodness. Execution of Shadow Fang will no longer interrupt combos. Okay, that's good. I figured as much with the way Sonic Break works, but you know. Tenchi Jin, we saw this duration increase from 5 to 6 seconds. Now it's a maximum of 2 What, excuse me? Wait a minute. I don't remember that from the patch notes, and I don't know why. I don't know why I didn't notice, or from the live letter. I don't know why I didn't notice that. Wow, okay. Now triggers the cooldown of weapon skills, Mudra, and Ninjutsu upon execution. Execution of weapon skills now trigger the cooldown of this action, so it's on the GCD essentially. Recast time has been increased from 0.5 to 20 seconds. Okay. The Mudra status effect will no longer be renewed by consecutive inputs of a Mudra action. Yeah, the number one thing we took away from Tenchi Jin was that you can just press the 3 Mudras in sequence without pressing the Ninjutsu button between them. I didn't expect all this other text to pop up here, so 2 charges. Wow. Okay, I don't know how I didn't notice that. Maybe it wasn't in that. I don't know. Ninjutsu, anyway. Recast timer is no longer triggered when Ninjutsu is executed or when a Mudra timer runs out. Yeah, I think someone pointed out to me during the live letter that as soon as you activated the Mudra, they started ticking back, as opposed to after Ninjutsu itself has been executed. Now triggers the cooldown. Okay, yeah, we knew that because it's on the global cooldown now. Recast time has been reduced from 20 to 1.5 seconds. Okay, yeah, because you can hold 2 charges now, so it makes sense that they'd make it so you were able to do that. Fumus Shuriken, yeah, we expect massive potency increases across the board to all this stuff. 500 potency Fumus Shuriken, 500 potency Katan, which is AoE, don't forget. Raiton 800, Hyotan 400, and that's not the version of Hyotan we're really interested in seeing. Hutan is the same, but it just has the recast and on GCD timers. Doton is now 100 potency. That's... yeah. Wow. Okay, Suiton is 600 potency. Yeah, we had noticed that Suiton was stronger than Fumus Shuriken in the live letter. Kasatsu no longer resets the ninjutsu recast timer. Charges have been removed. The effect allows the execution of a single ninjutsu without the consumption of Mudra charges. We noticed that during the live letter as well. But it no longer has charges. So in exchange for no longer having 2 Kasatsu charges, you now have 2 ninjutsu charges, and Kasatsu doesn't interrupt with that. On top of that, Tenchi Jin is 2... Okay, I'm just blowing my mind. Armor Crush, 20 potency buff to both the positional and non-positional. Dream Within a Dream duration has been increased to 15 seconds, so you have a little bit more freedom using Assassinate. Hellfrog, medium. Potency reduced. I expected this because of the reduction in how much Ninki you need, even if they've adjusted how much you also get on a weapon skill use. But it is no longer reduced after the first enemy, so it's a flat 200 and an AoE. So I wonder, I don't remember the old potencies, so I don't have a comment on buff or nerf, but probably buff, I'd imagine, question mark. I don't remember. And it's also only 50 Ninki now, because that's the cost of Ninki abilities. Bava, same 500 to 300, and has that Ninki gauge cost reduction. And then Tenchi Jin again. Huh? Wow. Okay, so this meant Ten and Chi and Jin, the Mudras. That's where my confusion was coming in. It's just Mudras. I was thinking Tenchi Jin, the ability. Okay, now it all makes sense. Now it all makes sense. Okay, that was just Mudras, not the ability Tenchi Jin. Now we're talking about the ability Tenchi Jin. Okay. I was gonna say, there's no way it had charges during the live letter. Okay. The effect has now been revamped. Tenchi Jin now functions. Temporarily converts all 3 mudras into ninjutsu action. This is what I mentioned earlier. You don't need to press ninjutsu in between each of the mudras. You just activate ability 1. You just activate mudra 1, mudra 2, mudra 3, and it will automatically execute them as you press each individual mudra. Last 6 seconds, only ninjutsu available while active. Same ninjutsu cannot be executed twice, meaning you cannot bunny during Tenchi Jin, and you still can't move. Effect cannot be executed while under Kasatsu. Okay, so everything they told us during the live letter. No surprises here, as far as I can see. Meisui is now a flat 50, so it gives you access to a Ninki ability instead of being some awkward number in between at half, whatever. It's also had its recast timer increase, so you won't interact with it as much, I guess, because now it is a flat Ninki ability. I guess that makes a little bit more sense. It's a little bit easier to calculate what it means and where it places in your rotation, I'd imagine, as well. Goka Mekyaku, I forgot about that. That's the name of the supercharged, is that the supercharged AoE? Yeah, that's the supercharged AoE. Supercharged Catan. That's the word I was looking for. Potency now increased from 400 to 750. Yeah, these are just potency increases. 1200! Yo, Shodan! Oh. Yo, that 66k crit I think they hit during the live letter was pretty dope. So that's... that's cool. I like that. Why is the font so much bigger here? The effects of the action have been revamped. Bunshin now functions as follows. Grants 5 stacks of Bunshin. Each stack allows your shadow to attack enemies each time you execute a weapon skill. Duration increased to 30 seconds, and the increase to the Ninki gauge per attack has been changed from 4 to 5. So yeah, you get a refund of, 5 of 25 Ninki backs. You get half of a Ninki ability back from this, which is not too unlike the way it was before, but a little bit easier to calculate. Again, Ninki gauge cost reduced to 50, recast time reduced to 90 seconds. Good, the 110 kind of just bugged me. I always hate it when they do that with abilities. Shukiko, which I forgot about, increases the Ninki gauge. Increase the Ninki gauge has been reduced from 6 to 5. I think these are the traits that increase how much Ninki gauge you get. Okay, increase to Ninki gauge has been changed from 8 to 10 for the second tier of the trait. Requirement has been changed from landing any weapon skill or successfully completing any combo to landing Shadow Fang or successfully completing a combo with Aeolian Edge or Armor Crush. So if I'm reading that correctly, and I'm sure you guys will let me know if I'm not in the comment section, it sounds like Shadow Fang, Aeolian Edge, and Armor Crush are all worth 10, and everything else is worth 5. That's what it reads to me. So, okay, that's cool. I don't really have much to input on that because I can't math all this in my brain right now. Nor do I doubt that the people who do math this kind of stuff probably have already been working on it while I've been asleep. So, either way. Samurai. Oh boy. Maximum number of stacks has been reduced from 5 to 3. Yeah, that's what I thought I heard them say during the live letter. We had a discussion about that on my live stream yesterday. The meditation status effect no longer has a duration. It's just a permanent stack. Now triggers the cooldown of weapon skills, so meditates on the global cooldown, essentially. I wish they would just say is on the global cooldown, but they say it in a way where people who don't know what a global cooldown is would still might know, but sorry, I needed the coffee. Hagakure, increased Genki gauge has been changed from 5 to 10. Okay. Subamageshi, global cooldown when executing this action is now affected by skill speed. Okay, that clarifies everything because the live letter said cooldown, but the text said global cooldown. So when people were translating it, people discovered this earlier than just reading the English text on the slide. So that is, even more formal confirmation. Shoha is fixed at 400. They told us that, and it costs 3 stacks of meditation. But its recast time has also been increased to 15 seconds, probably because you won't be obtaining meditation stacks that quickly anyway. Higenbana grants a stack of meditation. So every single one of these grants a stack of meditation up to 3. They did say this would be a thing with Subamageshi and your regular Iajutsu attacks. So that's as to be expected. Jim... Wait, really? Oh yeah, they said they did warn us about this. Combo potency has been reduced from 340 to 320, reduced from 340 to 320. They did tell us that something like this would happen, but that overall the job should be stronger. They assured us of that. Fuga had its range and radius increased to 8. I guess they're doing that for everything that was, 6 yalms before. And the cone size has been increased. Yukikaze had his combo reduced by 40 potency. I'm really gonna have to see how this actually plays out for now, because I still see Monk as the powerhouse melee, and then now Ninja and Dragoon. I don't know, dude. I'm not feeling it. Maybe it does work out for Samurais. Maybe the Samurais will tell me that it's like, no, this was actually like really good for whatever reason. And I don't know. I don't know. I'll wait. I'll be a witness to what happens. But dude, I'm looking at all the other melees and I'm like, I'm sorry, Samurai. I just don't see it. Oh boy, Bard. Okay, we know they're getting effects back to their songs. Let's see what they are. Oh, that's interesting. All 3 songs are different effects. Mage's Ballad is 1% increased damage to party members nearby. Payon is 3% direct hit rate, and Wanderer's Minuet is 2% crit. So that's still, I'm still very scared about the strength of Bard and it getting way too high. We see a Sidewinder buff here. Troubadour is having its cooldown reduced. I'm assuming all of them are having it reduced. That wouldn't make sense otherwise. Apex Arrow goes up to 600 at max. So at max Soul Voice gauge, it's been buffed by 100. At 20, it's been you know what? I wonder if this is just fixing the way that, because right now what it says is that it's 500 potency, and potency goes up as soul gauge goes up. But it's what it actually means is it's 500 potency at full soul gauge. I think this is just fixing the text, so that way you know it's 120 at the 20 gauge, and then it goes up to 600 at max. That's a clarification that I think needed to be on the skill, because it was very, very awkward the way that it was worded before. Okay, and then overall for anyone using it on 100, it's a 100 potency buff. Venomous Bite, however, the dots all took a hit, though. A 10 potency hit regardless of level. And Refulgent Arrow also took a 10 potency hit. So they did take some potency out of other stuff. That might level things out. But I'm curious to see how this all plays out, because I haven't read the other 2 range physicals yet, and now I must. Okay, Machinist. I see potency buffs for Machinist, like I wanted. They did say that they were getting it. Recast time has been reduced to 2 minutes. Okay, that's we expected that. Split Shot, Slug Shot, Clean Shot, Heat Blast, Heated Split Shot, everything got 20. Well, actually, Heated Slug Shot got 30, and Heated Clean Shot got 40. Which realistically, only this down really applies to stuff. And Flamethrower global cooldown when executing this action is now affected by skill speed. Okay, I guess that just means the flamethrower recast time. Oh no, it's just making it so that if you wanted to cancel it and use another GCD after that, you could access. It's the same as the Subamageshi thing essentially. Okay, I don't know if this is gonna do all I want, but I'm not, because of the frequency you actually use all of these skills. This actually could amount to be quite a substantial buff that puts Machinist well and above where it needs to be. But again, I'm not the math expert here, so I'm not gonna try to be in the middle of this. But I'm glad to see them getting some potency buffs. I personally wanted Drill and Air Anchor to get even more buffs so I can get those fat crits. But abilities you use more frequently have a much larger impact on your overall DPS. So this should work out pretty good for Machinist. Dancer. Oh boy. Okay. 50 potency here, 50 potency here, 50 potency here, and 50 potency here. Now, one thing... Cascade, Fountain, Rising Windmill, and Blood Shower. So specifically the base single target skills, not the flourished ones. And then the flourished AoEs saw buffs, if I'm remembering correctly. I'm pretty sure it's Blade Shower for the normal and Normal Windmill for the normal. Okay, so I'm trying to think about how, I mean, that makes our flourish window a little bit stronger. It makes using those versus going for the, trying to fill in a Saber Dance when you have, I don't know, there's still some other things I probably would have done instead of this, but 50 potency to some abilities used at least somewhat fairly frequently. These used at least every minute, and then in AoEs, those are also going to be better. This should be pretty nice, but I don't know. This is nice. This 200 to 300, that's cool and all, but it doesn't. It just makes it a little bit more valuable. I already like using Curing Waltz, so this will just make it a little bit better. And then Shield Samba being down to 2 minutes. Yeah, I don't know if this. I have a feeling I need to get on my Dancer and like really play it out in my head and see how this would actually affect these exact 4 abilities and how that's going to play out. Black Mage, they said triple cast was going to be getting a display for the number of spells left. Okay. Summoner is a job we were looking for. We know Eggy Assault has been changed to a spell and is on the global cooldown now. Bane no longer spreads Ruination to nearby targets. We knew that was going to happen because Ruination is gone. Eggy Assault 2, also like Eggy Assault 1. Pain Flare had its potency reduced. Okay. Tri Disaster now deals unaspected damage of 300 instead of the Ruination. Wow, just a 300 potency hit on that, huh? Yeah, I'm not super familiar with what the potency was before, but 300 is... I didn't think it was going to be that high. So that's pretty cool. Dreadworm Trance now is 55 seconds instead of 60. I don't know what that actually means, but shorter, normally taking things off the 60 seconds is kind of awkward for people, but I have a feeling that getting it prepped a few seconds earlier or having it available a few seconds earlier will probably make it probably easier to fit in a certain part. I need a summoner expert really to talk about it more, because I can only guess based on like what I've seen. That's not very accurate. Rune 4 had its potency increased to 300. Nice. Bio had its dot increased by 10. Miasma had its dot increased by 10, and its initial potency increased by 10. Summon Bahamut. Wyrmwave can now be executed immediately after being summoned. That's pretty nice, because the Wyrmwave delay, I've definitely heard summoners have bad reactions to Wyrmwave not being very responsive right when you first summon him, so that's nice. I really like this kind of stored Wyrmwave that he has at the start. Firebird Trance also 55 seconds. Everlasting. Yeah, I wonder if... Was that not an issue with Phoenix then? Because I don't say the same thing for Phoenix. Either it didn't have the same issue or they just didn't care about the Phoenix as much as they cared about Bahamut. Everlasting Flight now lasts 21 seconds, since that's the full amount of ticks that you would need to get the same amount of ticks every time. The pet ability, so Gust has been reduced by 10. Downburst has been increased to 100. Glittering Emerald has been increased to 30. And Glittering Topaz has been increased to the shield being 30% max HP. Shining Topaz, okay, no one cares about the Topaz ones, right? Let's move on. Windblade, Windblade is down 10, so it's basically the same ideals as Emerald Carbuncle, just higher potencies because Garuda naturally has higher potencies. Slipstream, only lasting 9 seconds but having increased potency. Aerial Slash being a good bit more potency, and then same with all the Titanegi stuff, just higher potencies based on the fact that Topaz is also there. Ifrit also got some pretty nice potency buffs, 250 to Crimson Cyclone, or 150 now to Crimson Cyclone, make it 250 total. Flaming Crush now is a higher initial potency, but does less damage now has fall off damage, essentially. Inferno is an extra 100 potency now, and Bane they told us about now always extends the duration of Bio Miasma applied by Bane to the full duration of their original effects. Yeah, that's good. That just makes it so bouncing dots back and forth between targets, especially because Bane doesn't cost Ether Flow and Shadowbringers, is really nice. This should definitely be a nice quality of life for summoners. Overall, I'm pretty happy with those. I'm really curious to hear what an experienced summoner has to say about this kind of stuff, and especially after they get their hands on it. So I'll keep an eye out on what the more experienced summoners have to say. So Red Mage section is smaller than I thought it would be. Acceleration, we know it's got 3 charges now instead of 1. Duration is 20 seconds, and the recast time has been changed to 55 seconds. In my opinion, that's a great trade-off. It's there to make your openers a little bit easier to do, so you can get into the burst window of the rest of the party at a reasonable speed. And then its cooldown is not even doubled. It's 20 seconds more for triple the charges. It's pretty nice. I think it's pretty nice. So, yeah, just let me know. Moulinet, or as I like to, that's how I like to say it. It got the 6 to 8 Yalm. Same with the enchanted version. I got the 6 to 8 Yalm change that we've been talking about for the patch notes. And then potency increased 30 to Contrary, 30 to Jolt, and 50 to Enchanted Reprise. Okay. Enchanted Jolt now increases the potency of Ver Thunder and Ver Arrow to 350 and the potency of Ver Fire and Ver Stone to 300. I don't remember what the base potencies were to those, but I mean, those are some potency buffs, but I don't know. I don't feel super good about these. No, it's not that I feel bad about them, but I guess just not knowing Red Mage makes it hard to appreciate it. Maybe it's a good amount, maybe it's not. Again, I'll let the experienced Red Mage just tell me how the overall percentage increase that is, because I don't even remember the base potencies of these, so I can't really talk about that. I just started leveling Red Mage like yesterday. White Mage Asylum got the 6 to 8 Yalm. We knew that was happening. Temperance is now applied immediately after execution. I don't know how. They've made the change to all the other abilities before Temperance was even in existence, where immediately upon execution they would apply. I wonder why they just didn't for Temperance right from the get-go. Maybe they just didn't think about it, but good to have it now. Effect is now immediately applied, so that's useful for tight timing windows. Scholar Summon Seraph has been, duration's been increased to 22 seconds, but Seraph must wait 2 seconds after being summoned to begin executing actions. Isn't it like that now where Seraph takes 2 seconds? I think that's just clarifying that Seraph does that already as it is. So they're giving you the extra 2 seconds to make it a true 20 seconds. It makes me wonder why with Machinist, with the bot, I guess they do intend the bot to only last a certain amount of time. Whereas Seraph, they're like, yeah, should probably make Seraph last the full 20 seconds that it actually says. Embrace, these actions will no longer be executed when the pet is set to steady for Embrace and Seraphic Veil. Okay. And Consolation recast time has been increased. Okay. That's weird. But I guess, you know, Scholar is pretty strong anyway, so that's, I don't really have much input on that. Just, this is what they've chosen to do, is about all I have to add to that. So, I'm going to move on, I suppose. Astrologian, they got some potency buffs. Compass got up by, its dot got put up by 10. Essential Dignity had its potency increased, its maximum cure potency increased by 100. Aspected Benefic MP cost while under Nocturnal Sect has been reduced by 100. Okay. Aspected Helios had a flat 100 increase across both of them. Combos 2 had its increase from 35 to 50, so again, just a more significant dot buff. Minor Arcana, now you don't need to actually store the card away. They did tell us about this during the live letter. Instead, once you've drawn the card, just pressing Minor Arcana will play the card that it would have respectively become. Oh my god, Collective Unconscious. I hate reading the text for Collective. It's always ridiculously long. The effect of this action has been revamped. You don't say. Collective Unconscious now functions as follows. Creates a celestial ring around the cast. Oh, I think I know where this is going. Diurnal Sect effect reduces damage taken by 10% and applies Wheel of Fortune to self and any party members who enter. Duration is 18 seconds. The regen is 100 for 15 seconds. And that's the diurnal effect. The nocturnal effect grants healing over time and applies Wheel of Fortune to self and any party members who enter. The cure potency is 100, and the Wheel of Fortune nocturnal effect, which is not the regen, is what reduces damage. Wait, what? Okay, so the nocturnal one reduces the damage taken for longer? If I'm reading this correctly. And what? Wait, no, I'm so confused reading this. Hold on. Recast time has been... So, first of all, it got buffed to a minute, and its radius is 8 yawns. Okay, so I'm going to read this one more time. When you're under Diurnal, reduces damage taken by 10%. I'm assuming that's to everyone who's inside of it, not just the caster. And applies Wheel of Fortune to self and any party members who enter for 18 seconds. Then the Diurnal effect is a regen with 100 potency for 15 seconds, so for 5 ticks. The Nocturnal one grants healing over time and applies Wheel of Fortune to self and any party members who enter. The healing over time is 100 for 18 seconds, which is 6 ticks, but then reduces... Am I bugging, or is the Nocturnal version just better for the sake of making Nocturnal better? Like, it's got 2 seconds longer on the damage reduction and 3 seconds longer on the cure. I feel like I can't be reading this. Like, I'm dumb. Like, I have to be dumb. Maybe I'm not, but that's how I feel right now. It's just so much text. And, yeah, then it's still if you move or whatever, or face a different direction, it cancels. I'm gonna step away from this skill. I'm just... Hey, Combos 3 had its damage over time potency increased from 45 to 60. Cool. And Malefic 4 had its potency increased by 10. Cool. Tank Roll Reprisal is now AoE in last 10 seconds. They told us they were doing that in the live letter. And Rescue, oh, great. Recast time reduced. I love that. I love Rescue's recast time going down more, because that's ended so well for me in the past. Ew. And Enhanced Outburst increases the potency of Outburst to 90 because they got rid of Ruination. Okay. And Enhanced Dry Disaster is gone. Okay. Help text has been changed for certain action traits and status effects. Display of resource costs with action icons has been adjusted as follows. Okay. Lily and Blood Lily costs will no longer display on action icons. Okay. Oh, I see now. Yeah. They're getting rid of all of those like little numbers they added to the skills. I guess they figure the skill lights up when it works. You'll know. Is probably the thought process behind all of this. Just, declutter it a little bit. Job gauges have been adjusted. They've added sounds or changed displays and added sounds to all sorts of different effects. So like battery gauge, soul voice gauge, the powder gauge, the balance gauge for red mages, and the blood lily. It's just a lot more audio cues for gauges filling up, which is always a welcome thing. Pets are going to be redisplayed in the party list, and they have a completely different display from what they had before. They cannot be targeted by selecting them in the party list, though. Demi Phoenix can no longer be targeted. All attacks from Arcanist Summoner pets are now categorized as magic attacks. I wonder if that ends up being... I remember Summoners wondering if that was going to change the way their potencies were calculated, and I'm curious as well. So, we'll see. Blue Mage has been Oh, we got some fat Blue Mage buffs, baby. Oh, yeah. 200 Water Cannon, 220 Flame. Oh, yeah. 140 Aqua Breath. And then it's... Oh, man. So in other words, they fixed all the potencies, because the potencies are terrible right now, and made them so... you. Okay, that just makes it so you can't spam final sting after getting up. Okay. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Yeah. Oh, oof. That's... okay, yeah. All right. Yeah, okay, I was going to do some Blue Mage videos before 5.1 came out, and definitely before 5.15 came out. I think that definitely just jumped in priority a little bit, because now with these potency increases, I can probably do some new fun stuff that I wasn't able to really do before. Yeah, and then they just added some synergies with Brush of Death to make sure there are other skills that somewhat, you know, are restricted based on using that. But it seems still that only... oh, no. Brush of Death is still applied for Self-Destruct and Transfusion as well. Yeah, it's just potency buffs across the board. That's a lot of potency buffs. Wow. Except for this is now... interesting. Oh, yeah, I guess they're trying to stop the super... like the super nuke. Like where you Peculiar Light, Off Guard... super buff, blow yourself up, so they increase the potency. You know what? These potency increases are probably somewhat as a result of those changes, though. Where is Off Guard? Is Off Guard even... yeah, there it is. Increases target's damage taken by 5%. Recast time has been changed to say... yeah, and... okay, so Peculiar Light is AoE, and Off Guard is... no, well, yeah, it's sort of, because Peculiar Light is... yeah. No, okay, yeah, this was weird for me. Okay, so that's why they buffed everything, because Off Guard got a massive nerf or a massive change. And I wonder what the... I wonder how that ends. Okay, so then all these... I mean, those potency buffs are still more than the percentage that it looks like they probably lost. But I still have question marks about what it ends up meaning when I actually... because I'm going to have to log in after this and actually look at the current ones, because I don't remember what the current ones actually say. All the same, though, I'm curious. I'm gonna try some new Blue Mage stuff. All right, and they added this whole like the fall off damage being fixed at 50%, or having added a 50% reduction to a bunch of AOE skills. They increased the success rate of learning actions. Of course, they did. The success rate of learning actions will be increased when you do not have undersized party selected. I very much appreciate that. I'm very glad they finally decided to make it so that by not carrying people, you also increase the success rate. Using Blue Mage spells to incapacitate itself will now do Brush of Death. Yeah, we saw that. New score bonuses have been added. Okay. The listing of enemy resistances in the Carnival stage has been changed to enemy vulnerabilities. Okay. Oh, okay. I see now. I like that. It's kind of weird still, because there's weaknesses and vulnerabilities, but it's just for status effects, so that's one thing. Filter's been added to the Blue Mage spellbook. Oh, thank goodness for that. Although it's not very thick right now, the book, but it'll get there. And finally, we get to the new dungeon. I'm not even halfway scrolled down. There's going to be so many things I have to scroll past, because I'm like 45 minutes into this already. Grand Cosmos is the new dungeon. Item level 430 to enter. It's going to be part of the main scenario. They also, this I was told about, they added minimum item levels to all the leveling dungeons from Heavensward onward. It's not very intense item level minimums, but at least make sure you bought the Poetics gear that was available from the level 50, 60, and 70 Poetics gear. So that's a good minimum to have set. So I appreciate some effort, because I honestly didn't think they would ever bother doing this. I thought they would just try to encourage people to roll on more loot or pick up loot. But no, this, you know how you encourage somebody? Hey, you don't get to do it if you don't. Thank goodness for that. It doesn't solve all the problems, but it solves the vast majority of them. We also have the new Minstrel's Ballad, 450 to enter, and no doubt it's going to drop I-465 weapons. We've been predicting this for ages, because Square Enix is quite predictable when it comes to item level assessments for different content. We still have to go talk to the Minstreling Wanderer in the Crystarium to unlock this after we finish the 5.0 main scenario. Really? Making adjustments to... oh, they're probably making wipe-proof changes to it. When the Moggles Guard and Moogles are present in the field, damage dealt to Good King Mog cannot exceed a certain threshold. Yeah. So what a lot of people do in Duty Finder is they'll just accidentally kill Good King Mog to the point where he automatically enrages and wipes the group. This should prevent that, but it does mean that you have to kill all of the Moogles in order to actually finish the fight, which I guess is somewhat of a trade-off in exchange for not having Duty Finder groups wipe anymore. I'll take it. Weekly restrictions for Eden Normal is going to be removed, except for the Blade of Early Antiquity from the Sepulchre. So all the armor, completely unlimited, but the weapon still requires multiple weeks. But instead of 7 weeks, it's going down to 4. They make this change every time, that we move away from the release schedule of a normal raid tier. Timing of hardened rage mechanics. Oh, they did it. So for anyone who wonders why this exact one's a big deal, there was a big discussion about what we recall fast and slow instances in Final Fantasy XIV, where an instance, so you could be fighting the same boss with the same group in 2 different zone end instances, and you could have different enrage timers and different rates at which mechanics played out. We even showed it on the State of the Realm. And this seems to claim that they have remedied that so that enrages, specifically on high-end bosses such as Eden's Gate Savage, will always enrage and play out at the same speed at the same time. That is I'm genuinely surprised they managed to fix that. That's nice. That's really, all right. That's some big kudos for this. This is a nice patch notes. Timing and mechanics of Eden Gate Savage encounters have been adjusted. We apologize for this inconvenience. We'll do our utmost to ensure these issues do not occur again. No, kudos. I didn't think that was going to happen. So, thank you. That's it. That's all I have to say. Copied Factory from Your Heart Dark Apocalypse is here. 435 to enter. It should drop item level 460 armor. Just again, they're so predictable at their item level, the way that they do it. And then all of this is the same for as every other 24-man. You get 1 weekly item from any of the bosses. As soon as you win 1 item from any boss, that's it. You can't win any other armor from the rest for the rest of the week. There's also a token for completing the final boss for the first time in a week. And then, is there anything else here? Manufactured coin, which can be exchanged to get items to enhance equipment purchase with Tombstones of Phantasmagoria. Okay. And then there should be some other stuff. Yeah, and then there's another treasure chest, which, you will be able to roll on regardless of if you won an item for the week. The items required to upgrade Phantasmagoria Tombstones can now be bought with sacks of nuts and manufactured coins. The hunt is now a means of upgrading Tombstone gear. This is a very normal thing in odd-numbered patches, so if you have spare nuts lying around, well, you can go dump that sack of nuts and upgrade some of your Tombstone gear. Giggity goo. Players now receive Echo in the event all parties are incapacitated. They're just adding Echo to the old extremes and to the original Shadowbringers normal mode trials. Even Orbone Monastery is getting one. I guess they're sick and tired of people abandoning it, so that's a surprise, but probably a decent idea. Players now use the undersized party option to do the Great Hunt and the Great Hunt Extreme. I can finally finish that mount. I'm 15 kills away from getting the Rathalos mount, so I appreciate that. Players can now interrupt Malice cast by Mimics in Deep Dungeons. Okay, that's interesting. That was a big problem with solos. It's certainly not the biggest problem with solos, but it was a big problem with solos. So, okay, anything with an interrupt, because it specifically says interrupt. So I'm assuming that doesn't mean stun. I'm assuming that means silences like tanks and ranged physical. If you can stun them too, great. But interrupt is a pretty exact term nowadays in Final Fantasy XIV. So at the very least, that opens up some jobs to have a little bit easier of a time, or even just anyone to have an easier time when climbing up with a full group with their friends. So, yeah, I guess just, phasing out the old problems with the old content. Eureka buffs. Oh, the Echo is now in there. The Echo will not take effect in the Baldessian Arsenal. I had a feeling they weren't going to change anything in the Baldessian Arsenal, but there will be Echo inside of Eureka now for people who want to go back, do it because they weren't able to, or even to get to the Baldessian Arsenal and do it the normal way. There are still Discord groups out there that set up weekly Eureka runs, at least on Aether, so I'm assuming the other data centers have them as well. Easier to spawn Notorious Monster, and story quest completion is no longer required to ride mounts. That is a very big one, so it should open to a lot more freedom for people to get around the map. I'm assuming that also means that the level requirement for the mounts isn't... I'm just assuming that means you can use mounts, is what I'm assuming that means. It's just now you can mount wherever you want to go. But if it doesn't, you still need the level, my bad. Requirements for spawning certain elite marks have been adjusted. That's interesting. I'm wondering exactly what elite marks that's applying to, because that's Shadowbringers hunts. So I wonder if it's less kills for certain ones. I wonder if it is referring to the double S ranks in some way. I don't know. I can't wait for the hunt people to tear that apart. The resistances of certain monsters has been adjusted. Okay, exploratory missions have been removed. They're gone. Don't worry about them anymore. Woohoo. Following additions adjustments have been made to the Raid Finder. Hades Elegy is in. The old extremes are out. And the Unending Coil and Weapons Refrain have been added to the Ultimate category. That's it. Ultimate's getting its own category. I like it. Duty Roulette Expert has now, the Grand Cosmos is in that roulette as well. This is my favorite patch for the Expert Roulette. 4 different dungeons, so we know 3 of them are good so far. Next patch is where I start to dislike the Expert Roulette again, because it goes back down to a measly 2 dungeons, as if I recall Stormblood properly. Duty Roulette Expert now has the required item level of 430 to enter instead of 410. Following duties have been added to the Mentor Roulette, Grand Cosmos, and the Copied Factory. Mentor Roulette minimum has gone up to 435. Hades Elegy is now in Stone Sky Sea. And the enmity generated by Choco Drop and Choco Strike has been increased, so your Chocobos can actually tank. Okay. Oh boy, yeah, it's a good thing they didn't do this, because we would have been here for a while. There's been significant adjustments to PvP actions. We'll learn more. They'll be added to the job guide on Tuesday. Okay, good. Ranking of each Grand Company will now be displayed on the results screen. For frontlines, players can now queue as frontline as a party. Good. That party size is limited to 4, but it's still a party. Mount speed has been increased. Okay, that'll make getting around the map faster. The following adjustments have been made to return. They told us the recast was removed and taking damage will always interrupt it. Okay. Following adjustments have been made to the recovery. It's always 5 seconds. They told us that. When the countdown reaches 0, players will be moved to their team's landing point automatically. Okay. Following adjustments have been made to the adrenaline gauge. Defeating players on enemy teams will no longer contribute to filling the gauge of your party members. Players can now fill their adrenaline gauge via assists. Okay, so it's just more personal onus on your own adrenaline gauge and not, affecting it for your party. Borderland Ruin secure icons will now be displayed on the map 30 seconds prior to monsters spawning on the field. Just more information popping up. Okay, that's nice for Borderlands secure. When competing in the Fields of Glory Shatter, icons will now be displayed on the map 30 seconds prior to Icebound Tomeliths spawning. So it'll let you know which ones are spawning too, and it's not just going to be a complete crapshoot. I wonder how that actually affects it, because I don't like Shatter. And people just fight over the ice all the time. So unless there's other changes here, then I don't know, maybe it'll be okay for me. I don't know. All matches now require 72 players. It's a bold move, Cotton. Battle high has been adjusted. They went over this during the live letter. At 20 to 39 points, it's a 10% increase. At 40 to 59, it's 20%. 60 to 79, 30%. 80 to 99, 40%. And at a flat 100, if you're all the way high, you got 50% increased damage. They don't appear on the map any longer, and they don't receive a bonus to their team's tactical rating for defeating players with high battle high. It's just to get a high-powered opponent off the field. An icon will now appear next to players' names indicating their battle high rank. Okay, but that's still a way to see that they have battle high. New items, this is the dungeon gear. Gear based on the grand prize winner of the gear design contest. Melee DPS edition has been implemented, together with gear for other roles based on this design. We know now that this comes from PvP based on the patch 5.1 website, and that's why I'm glad I have 20,000 Wolfmark saved up, because I want to look like Raiden from Revengeance. New recipes have been added, a new coat looking good, but they're not going to tell us the recipe for it, of course. Following item names have been changed. The Certificate of Good Cheer and the Valentine's Day Chocolate has been changed to expired, so don't eat that. You're going to get sick. Some items may now be sold, desynthesized, submitted as expert deliveries, and converted into materia. New crafter actions. This is all going to go way over my head. I don't know anything about crafting, so it's here. It's on the screen. Channel it. Educate me about it. This is all useless to me, because I have not crafted an item seriously outside of a crafting like Beast Tribe quest in literal years. So my input here has no value. I'm going to move on. I will say that I did catch some people saying, what the fuck, crafter changes. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's good or bad, but it's something, man. Following crafter actions have been adjusted. Rapid synthesis, hasty touch, tricks of the trade. It's mostly level changes, success rates, ingenuity, innovation, muscle memory, great streds, name of the elements, patient touch, basic synthesis. Yeah, I remember them mentioning this in the live letter, the 100% success rate on some of these skills. Standard touch, brand of the elements, Bayergot's blessing, precise touch. I remember this one in particular being the one they mentioned. Precise touch, looks like everything's 100% success. So it looks like they're trying to make it less about like adjusting to RNG, except for like a few abilities like hasty touch, and are instead trying to make it about properly using the skills. I don't know how that's gonna work out, but it sounds like it's a macro away from success. And then they got rid of a bunch. They showed us that they got rid of so many skills on Yoshi P's hotbar. My goodness, is there any here that I actually know what they do? Manipulation, I know what that does. Rapid synthesis, steady hand. Oh yeah, well, steady hands. Yeah, that's right, because those were all 100% except for the hasty touch, weren't they? Additional actions have been removed, and these were on the removed list anyway, so that's fine. Manipulation 2. Oh, okay. Wait. So they aren't gone, because it said that... Oh, I get it. Okay. Because I was like, wait, what? That doesn't make sense. It just said that it was gone. Yeah, okay. So manipulation's gone, but manipulation 2 is here, and manipulation 2 is being renamed to manipulation. So the original one is gone, but manipulation 2 is now manipulation 1, because it's the only manipulation. Got it. Same with careful synthesis 3. 1 and 2 are gone, so 3 is now the baseline. And then new crafter traits have been added. Efficiency increased by 120%, 500%. Okay, that's rapid synthesis mastery in particular. Following crafter, traits have been removed. Stroke of genius. Don't even remember what it did. Overall experience gains for crafting classes have been increased, so leveling's a little bit quicker. And then the crafting log now has the recipe tree, so you can see, what you have, what you need, what something's made out of, and craft the things that it's made out of through the tree. In other words, we have the technology. It looks wonderful, and I'm sure it's going to be awesome when we actually get into the game. Again, I don't even craft, and I love looking at this. It's just a beautiful thing to say that we finally have some sort of structure to this. Sorry, websites that all help with that stuff, but hey, you'll still be useful. I know you will be. Hovering your mouse over the crafting condition in the crafting window will now display an explanation of the status. I somehow don't know how we didn't have that all this time. Quick synthesis will no longer fail. Okay. Increase to control now provides a reasonable improvement to the chance of receiving high quality items during quick synthesis. And when using quick synthesis to craft more than one item, the time required per synthesis has been reduced. So it's faster, doesn't fail when you meet the requirements, and control still has a positive effect on it. I am so totally okay with that. Soul of the Crafter increases CP by 15. So that's the specialist, if I'm recalling correctly. That's pretty nice. Items used for only collectible exchange will always be crafted as collectibles. They mentioned this for gatherers too, that gatherers, items that are used as collectibles only will now only be gathered as collectibles, if I recall. Okay, desynthesis. Let me just take it in. I've been dreading this. What does it say? Desynthesis can no longer fail regardless of your desynthesis level. Well, that implies there is still a desynthesis level. So let's see what, let's dig a little bit deeper here. And you still need a level 30 crafter to initially unlock it. Okay. The combined total level has been removed, so you can level all of them. Okay. So you can still level them. It's just that it doesn't have to do a success rate anymore. When your desynthesis level is higher than that of the item you are desynthesizing, the number of items yielded is increased, and there's a chance to procure rare items. Now, I need to know what rare items are, because as someone who's done desynthesis for years, I don't exactly know what the bronze Haubergen has as a rare item. And let's just say if I'm a little bit more than skeptical about what it actually means. That being said, at least desynthesis level isn't a waste. If you leveled it before, it's still useful now. It just means that more people have access to desynthesis, assuming they're willing to go out of their way and actually desynthesize the incredible number of items that go to waste, whether it be Grand Company points or just hitting the floor altogether. I will continue to try to be optimistic, especially because the leveling rate's been increased, level cap's gone up to 460, and the careful desynthesis parameter has been changed to desynthesis skill gain. So, oh yeah, that's right, the foods that give you careful desynthesis, like the bacon bread and the Tinker's Calm, now it just makes it so you skill up faster. Alright, whatever. That's something, at least that makes sense that it would do that. We'll see if rare items means rare items, because I don't believe that it actually will. I think it'll be like, well, let's see, if I don't have the level, then I'll get a bronze, I'll get like a bronze ore. And if I do have it, I get a bronze ingot. And it's like, that's not rare. Either way, I have a feeling my income is going to be hit there. Sneak allows you to avoid enemies up to 4 levels above you. And, okay, Sneak does not hinder movement speed and can be used when riding mounts. Yeah, they said they were doing this. And increases elemental shard yield by 2 for gatherers. And if it doesn't yield shards, can't use it. Gathering changes. Lay of the Land is now 5 instead of 6. Lay of the Land 2. The Giving Land now functions as follows. Increases elemental shard crystal cluster yields by a random amount. And it can be stacked with 12's bounty for basically trying to massively increase shard and crystal and cluster yield and all that stuff. Same with Botanist. It's the same basic changes in Fisher. Truth of the Oceans is now 65 instead of 66. Stealth has been removed. All of these, like, wards have been removed. Toil of the Mountaineer, Toil of the Pioneer, all of those are gone. Auto Sneak is automatic now upon changing to a crafter. I'm sorry, to a gatherer. So you'll automatically be a sneaky boy and just disappear. One with the Mountain. These are new traits. Automatically activates Truth of the Mountain. Good. upgrades Impulsive Appraisal to Impulsive Appraisal 2 on Earth 3. So basically just the removing buttons by making them upgrade from the old one into the new one, and then this increases the yield from 2 to 3. Same with Botanist, same changes, different names, and then Fisher automatically activates Truth of the Oceans upon changing the Fisher after level 70. And then they adjusted some of the existing ones. 12's Bounty expects the crystals to clusters. Effect change base GP increases it by 1, and then this increases it by 2. Oh, and then also increases it while gathering by 1 on top of that. Okay. This text was kind of like shoved together, so it's kind of weird. And then I'd assume that fishing is... No, it just increases the base to 2, because that's, you know, I guess while fishing, it doesn't matter. Enhanced stealth, all those traits are gone. Both the toils are gone. Gather is a level faster. Gathering rates have been increased. Special conditions have been adjusted. Quick gathering has been added, so you can gather. I'm assuming it does exactly what I predicted. You select the slot, you gather until there's nothing left on that node, and then you're done. One button press, several gathers in a row. I appreciate it. I approve of it. Gathering an item for the first time, the gathering rate will no longer be lowered, so that initial discovery is still worth that bonus EXP, but no longer a super pain in the butt to actually discover it. Items not recorded in your gathering log will now appear as unknown in the window, and an icon will display next to the items that have been recorded in the gathering log, just to let you know if you've ever gathered it before, and I appreciate that. They lowered some item equipments for Bronze Scythe and Bronze Sledgehammers, which I feel like I remember having an issue with those being level 11, but I don't remember super well, so I can't say for certain, but I feel like I remember it. Yeah, and then also they lowered a lot of things by 1 level to make them more convenient, like unlock it like a level that makes sense based on how you progress through gathering and crafting. Has been something I've noticed a lot. Like all these just got lowered by 1 level. Items will no longer appear out of reach. They told us they were going to do that. Ethereal reduction has been adjusted for item yield. Search for items option has now been added to the subcommand. New minor botanist gathering points have been added. That's expected for a 0.1 patch. New items have been added to gathering points. New fish have been added. And players that can now speak with Kai Shear for the new custom delivery quests. Oh, beehive yourself. Austin Powers. I'm moving on. So see you later, Kai Shear. Following additions have been made to the Glamour Dresser. They went over this in a UI update post, so not much to really talk about here. New mounts, that is no doubt the mount from the new Minstrel's Ballad. This I'm still not sure if that's Kai Shear, that's PvP, that's something else. I don't know what this is from. Could be from New Game Plus for all I know. But I have no idea where this is going to come from, but the Yulmoren background drop makes me think. It's the only reason why I'm thinking that is because of the Yulmoren background. Even though this is a Crystal Tower background, you know, we know who to apply that to, so... the following mounts can now be used to fly without completing the I Believe I Can Fly quest. Good, they're just cutting out one more quest that you need to do to make 5 of your Chocobo mounts fly. New Chocobo barding, that's alright. I've had the Ravana barding for a pretty long time. I think it's getting replaced, ladies and gentlemen, because that's, yeah, that's dope. Yo, so I called this thing a marsupial in my last video. Meerkat was the word I was looking for. I just knew it began with M. That is the most precious animal in the existence of the planet. And I'm not just saying that because the Lion King. I will obtain this meerkat and I will protect him with all of my heart and soul. Goldfish, I don't care. I'm all about this meerkat. All right. So they did do this. So you can now take your crafted items, your item level 450 crafted items, and upgrade them to item level 460 with exchanges. So this actually has some farther reaching implications, as we learned from the last time it was incorporated. Basically, what it is you exchange an item level 450 crafted item for tokens, and then you can use those tokens to buy item level 460 gear that doesn't have the overmelding slots, but it's 10 item levels higher. So, you know, it's usually a pretty good trade up when you're just trying to increase your item level. What you can also do is, because they give you tokens from your trade-ins, you don't have to trade in one item and then buy the same item. I remember people when they freshly hit level 70, some people would like buy an HQ weapon for like, you know, 180k, 200, 250k, whatever, and then go trade it in for tokens, but then buy other pieces like boots and gloves and stuff, so they could get they could just acquire more average item level as opposed to just you know, increasing that weapon slot. It depends on the cost of the items on your server, if it's even a smarter decision to make, and normally you still end up buying a weapon for yourself and upgrading that anyway, but it is worth keeping that in mind. It does have farther reaching implications, as I said earlier, than just upgrading crafted gear from 450 to 460. I'm glad to see they are continuing this though, and remember, you will need this new item, Collusion Rain, in order to actually do the upgrade. So you do still need some elegant tomestones of ghost shit. Don't just buy this right when you hit 80. Get some tomestones first and make sure you can actually buy enough Collusion Rain to do the upgrades. And then this just lets you know how to actually acquire it, you know, what NPCs to actually go to. New achievements and titles have been added. Following additions and adjustments have been made to achievements. Icon for certain achievements has been adjusted. Crafter and gather achievements we're using icons from actions that were removed have been changed. Okay. Certain duties and trials will now count towards the completion of achievements. All the tankless jobs, the new instances, the new dungeons, the new 24-mans, those will all take place for the tankless job and the tank you quests for the achievements, I should say. Display of titles in the achievement windows have been adjusted to more easily distinguish between those that appear before or after your character name. Appreciate that. Excuse me, the description for Go Big or Go Home achievements have been adjusted to specify big fish in the source. Okay. Favorite list has been added to the market board. I could have swore we had this already. Oh no, I think it wasn't called favorites. It was called something else. But you can set favorite items. So if there's an item you buy very frequently, instead of actually searching for it, you can just click your favorites and go right to it and get to purchasing. Following adjustments have been made to gear exchange. They have changed the windows. The display when receiving 2 or more items has been adjusted. The adjustment window looks, the item exchange window looks way, way better. Really appreciate that, especially the whole sword and shield thing we got going on here. A filter to view gear for specific classes and jobs has been added. Thank goodness. It's taken so many years to get that, but we finally have the technology. Fellowships, a new means for like-minded players to join together, has been added. I've been saying these are like party finders with post boards, like forum boards almost. I don't know how these are going to be used effectively. Maybe for raids, maybe for recruitment for raid groups, maybe for hunts, maybe for treasure maps. It's up to the people. And I don't trust people. Doesn't matter what kind of party finder it is. I gotta trust people. I don't know that I trust people enough. I do trust that Aloha is up and walking around because I can hear him scratching himself against certain stuff. Joining and searching for fellowships, you know, invitations are one way. There's also a fellowship finder, group pose, player events, and novice support. Now that's ready, set, G pose. All right, who did it? Who took this picture? You come forward right now and you admit that you made this and you are proud of yourself. Okay, you be honest. You be honest with yourself. Okay. Then there's a fellowship finder, minion unions, scavengers, housing enthusiasts, and elite mark hunter. So this is again just giving people some ideas. This is a Savage Raid one, but yeah, I don't want to acknowledge these names. I don't want to. But yeah, this is the kind of thing I expected them to be used for. So I'm glad to see that it's got these, you know, activity feeds set up and that they have, it's like-minded, you know, to what I would have, you know, used them for. Another thing is like shows like what's it called? A Stage Reborn. They could do formal in-game announcements using this by changing, I'd imagine, the comment and whatnot. Even if it's not exactly the same kind of use, it might be useful for something like that as well. But I don't know. They probably have other stuff that's probably easier to get the information out than just that. I really want to have to stop reading Ready, Set, G Pose. I'm done. Notices, message of the day, polls being made available. See, all this stuff is way more in depth than like a normal party finder. It is trying to be more like a community that has a party finder pretty much as a feature almost, because you can make groups to then recruit inside of the fellowship itself, based on what they showed us before, unless we were mistaking those groups for this, because we didn't actually know. The fellowship finder might be what I was mistaking for the party finder when they first revealed it, and it might not work entirely like that once you've actually joined a fellowship, because I'm looking at some of these menus and I haven't seen it yet. So we have fellowships, we have the message boards, members, general, and then let me see here. Fellowships, members, display the members, settings, you know, what activities you're trying to do. And then these are other things. You know, you have PvP, hunts, battle, hardcore, player events, making friends, all sorts of different things. You know, maybe this is going to be more useful than I initially thought it would be. I'm a little bit more optimistic about it. Yeah, it seems like it's not really a party finder then. It's just, I think when we were initially showed it, I think I mistook this screen for it being like a party finder within a set fellowship, whereas this is a way to find fellowships, not recruit for parties within one. So I guess there is a recruitment button though, I guess, but that's just the recruitment settings. So I wonder how it's actually going to work out, because it's got the message boards, it's got the members tab, it's got the settings, it's got, I need to see it in action, because there's some decent potential for this feature. I think a little more than I initially anticipated. Following addition adjustments have been made to Mentor. We already knew about this. They're adding tags for different types of mentors. They're updating the mentor, what you need to do to make sure you're up to date with it. You have to reapply for it if you're already a mentor, is assuming you actually meet these new conditions, which aren't very much more intense than the old ones, other than the player commendation one being, multiplied by 5. Renewing the renewal period. If you don't renew it in time, then you will lose your mentor certification and need to re-earn it the old-fashioned way. And you can do that. There's nothing to stop you from doing that. Some group pose additions. Again, not really a feature I mess around with too much, but I've seen some great group posing stuff, so I'll let the people who know how all this stuff works, colors, lighting, all that stuff, and let them appreciate it and respect it, because I can't do it justice here, and this video is going on way too long. Duties that can be recorded have changed. Yay. The Dying Gasp, Normal, and Eden's Gate Sepulture, Savage. Every time I read this in patch notes, the whole, duty recorder part, I'm just like, I'm sad. All right. Duty Finder changes. Your current item level will now be displayed. They told us about this in a UI update. There's also drop-down menus for the individual expansions. We saw that in a UI update on the dev blog as well. So it's a little bit easier to, look for the specific thing you want with the drop-down menus instead of just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, look between everything. You can also disable the echo now in your duties if you want to go in with a full pre-made and practice on an old fight and you hate clicking off the echo all the time. You could just disable it altogether. And they did hint that that would have some implications for the Blue Mage log, so we shall see. Party leader will no longer change when entering a duty without role restrictions. Okay. Following adjustments have been made to the party finder. Players can now blacklist other players actively recruiting party members. Okay, so you can literally just blacklist people while... All right. I guess you're just trying to make that easier if you see someone who's, kind of annoying you there. Recruitment listings for players on your blacklist will no longer display. All right, so now it just gets rid of their display instead of graying them out. So you don't have to wonder, I wonder why I'm blacklisted by that person. They just won't see them at all. Following additions and adjustments have been made to emotes. There's a sort function. They went over this in the UI update on the blog as well. Adding an emote to the favorites tab, a system message will display indicating your total number of favorite emotes. A setting to play sound notifications when other players emote at you has been added. I'm turning that off because I'm going to just hear ding, 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 ding a million times in Limsa Limits. Sorry, everyone poking me, but I'll just have to see you poking me because I'm going to die if I have to hear that so many times. Collection menu has been added under duty in the main menu. Following measures have been taken in anticipation of congestion during the release of patch 5.0. These things that were put in place. Field instances for old and new areas will be removed. We expected that. And players will no longer be automatically logged out. So they say field instances for old and new areas. I wonder if field instances is implying places like Lakeland, but keeping them for places like Yulemoor and the Crystarium. I wonder. A copy item name option has been added to the subcommand when selecting linked items in the log window with the text cursor. Pressing L1, R1 will paste text from your clipboard. Okie dokie. Consolidate settings for individual chat channels. A channel log setting menu has been added. Okie dokie. That's good. That's a nice, easy way to access that information. I actually am already thinking of using it. A transparency setting has been added to the cross hotbar. Okay, I don't interact with the cross hotbar, but transparency settings are always good. People have a lot of preferences when it comes to that kind of stuff. Mount Roulette can now be used when swimming or submerged. Yeah, I wonder why that didn't work. I guess because not everything could fly back then. Settings to hide the HUD will be disabled when skipping cutscenes. Okay, interesting. The log message displayed when obtaining allied seals, yada yada yada, all those different items has been adjusted. The options displayed when confirming a friend request have been adjusted. I hope it makes it better to do because I hate accepting friend requests. It's so not convenient. The following adjustments have been made to targeting. Character selection when using the directional buttons of the gamepad can now be changed from target circle to target select. And when using a mouse with target filters on, players can now enable the selection of targets near the mouse cursor. Okay, so one thing that I often hear people griping about, and I've had my experiences with it too, is targeting is sometimes not always all what you want it to be. I wonder if this helps at all, because I haven't really had to think about it much. I kind of just got so used to it over the years that the thought of it changing or getting better kind of just escaped me, I suppose. So I'll have to take a look at those when actually in-game to get a feel for what they actually mean, because I understand them kind of, but like I need to feel it to see if it is actually, like, it feels like a good change to me. Following adjustments made to ground targeting. With a gamepad, cursor speed when pressing R1 and left analog stick has been adjusted to maintain consistency. The default positioning of the cursor has been adjusted. Players can now save their cursor position, and cursor position can now be reset by pressing R1 and L3. I have a feeling controller users, a lot of them are still going to use target macros for certain abilities, you know, like ground placement skills, like on the enemy or on the tank or on themselves. I have a feeling this won't really change that much, but for players who don't know that kind of thing exists yet, changes to this stuff are pretty welcome if people know that the ability to do these things exists. They still need to be educated that these new features are there, and a new player probably won't. So, we'll see what happens. Most people are probably just still going to recommend macros for that. Class and job actions now be set to the hotbar or cross hotbar automatically when logging in without saved hotbar or crossbar data. Okay, interesting. Players can now change their sound equalizer settings. Okie dokie. Into bass mode, treble mode, voice boost, Logitech Pro G50mm. That's a much longer final option I noticed right there. Additions and adjustments have been made to the keybind menu. There's some new commands that have been added for shortcuts. New Game Plus, Fellowship Finder, the new features essentially. A bunch of new text commands, graphic presets, so you can now change it between them with just a text command instead of going into the graphics menu. Fellowship, the interface, Fellowship Finder, and the collection interface. And then on top of that, can only be used with blue action spells. Following text commands can only be used with blue action spells you have acquired. Blue action, hotbar, blue action, cross hotbar, blue action, and macro icon action name, blue action. Gear set names can now be changed using gear set change text command. Oh, okay, that's pretty nice. When using the position and flag placeholders, the instance number will now appear after the air. So we got rid of instances, but now we have that. You know how useful that would have been in all this time that we've been doing hunts for the past however many months? I guess it just means in 6.0 it'll be easier, guys. Looking forward to it. Additions have been made to the auto translation dictionary, made to the PS4 autocomplete. New music, overall sound output has been lowered. I guess people blowing their eardrums out. Compatible with the LightSync PC gaming speakers from Logitech. New battle voices for player characters have been added. Okay, I wonder if that's just to fix some of the bad ones from before, if they were like outright new, like, and not just replacing old ones. The following additions and adjustments have been made to the staff credits. Staff credits will not display even when the UI is disabled. Players can now temporarily hide the staff credits to take screenshots when viewing and oh, that's pretty nice, because yeah, there's some parts at the end there that you generally have to edit around otherwise. And when viewing the confirmation prompt to skip the staff credits after playing escape or B or O. Support prompt will now appear when canceling a report via the support desk. Error code now be displayed when the client fails to back up your configuration data. It's bad that it didn't do that before. In order to alleviate stress on the servers, players who cancel the queue on the login screen must now wait 30 seconds before they re-enter the queue. It's funny because we used to do that deliberately to try and skip the queue. They made it so that's not possible, and now they're even going as far as to punish people from doing it. I respect it. You know, it was kind of weird that it existed in the first place, so the steps they've taken in the last several months to alleviate that have probably been for the better of the actual login process. The list of worlds on the character select screen will now be listed in alphabetical order. Okay, that's probably going to bug the hell out of me because I'm really used to the order. And the game launcher has been revamped. I wonder if it's an actual launcher now and not just a text, not just like a website wrapped in a launcher, essentially. And there will be a brief transition period where players may freely switch between the old and the new layout launchers or launcher layouts, and then that is the end of the patch notes. Holy moly. Bro, it feels like I'm like, it's almost 5.2 now that it took me so long to get through. I don't think I've ever had a patch note reading go this long, and that's even considering I skipped over some things. And we haven't, Ishgard's not even on here because 5.11 isn't for another 2 weeks. Ultimate's not on here because it's not for another 2 weeks. Blue Mage stuff isn't on here, and the new PvP mode wasn't even on here because those are both 5.15, and it still took that long. Whew. Sorry, YouTube, but you're getting an 80-minute video today. And I have no regrets about any of it. Oh, boy. Okay, well, with that, I'm going to wrap up this Twitch recording for YouTube. That's going to take like an hour to get over to YouTube. And go play some video games and talk about it some more. Because that was... Whew, I gotta open my Twitch chat finally. All right, that was intense. Okay, thanks everyone for watching the live letter overview. If you survived it on Twitch, God bless your soul. If you survived it on YouTube, probably skipped around and cheated, but thank you as well. And I will see all of you in the next video. So thanks for watching, and until then, take care.